Remember watching Bloodsport as a kid and genuinely believing that based on a true story ending text?
And then I became a sensation overnight because of Bloodsport.
Remember thinking Frank Dux was an actual legend? Yeah, about that. Grab your headband and prepare for some splits because Bloodsport, the 1988 martial arts masterpiece that launched Jean-Claude Van Damme into superstardom, was literally weeks away from being dumped straight to video and forgotten forever. Every disaster, every budget cut, accidentally created the cult classic we know today. So, let's dive into the chaos and the 9 happy accidents that made Bloodsport one of the greatest martial arts movies ever made. Number 1. Here's the jaw dropper. Just months before Bloodsport made him a star, Jean-Claude Van Damme was cast as the Predator in the 1987 Arnold Schwarzenegger sci-fi classic. Yes, the Alien. And yes, he got fired. Van Damme spent maybe 2 days on the Predator set in 1987 before getting the boot. Why? Some say he hated the clunky red suit that didn't let him show off his martial arts skills. Others claim he passed out from dehydration. One crew member says he threw a $20,000 prototype head on the ground and shattered it. Producer Joel Silver allegedly screamed at him to get off the set.
Many theories and rumors about why you left Predator.
If Van Damme had stayed trapped in that alien suit for months of shooting, he wouldn't have been back in Los Angeles broke and hungry when Cannon Films needed someone to play Frank Dux.
Go! Bottom one.
The timing was perfect. Van Damme went from Hollywood reject to action icon in less than a year. All because one door slammed in his face and another one kicked wide open. Without Predator firing him, there's no Bloodsport. Without Bloodsport, there's no Van Damme as we know him. Now, if you haven't seen Bloodsport in a while, or ever, here's the quick recap. Frank Dux is a US Army captain who goes AWOL to compete in the Kumite, a brutal, no-holds-barred underground martial arts tournament in Hong Kong. He's trained since childhood by a Japanese sensei, battles fighters from around the world, befriends a loud American wrestler named Ray Jackson, and faces off against the terrifying villain Chong Li. It's Enter the Dragon meets Rocky, with Van Damme doing the splits on Hong Kong rooftops. Career accident? Absolutely. But it changed everything.
I brought you here to help me train my son. Don't question me.
Number 2. Let that sink in for a second. Canon Pictures, the studio that greenlit Superman 4 and Masters of the Universe, thought Bloodsport was unwatchable. After filming wrapped in late 1986, Canon executives screened the rough cut and declared it unreleasable. Not bad, not fixable, unreleasable. They shelved the movie for 14 months, planning to dump it straight to video like a B-movie nobody would remember. Things got so bad that Menachem Golan, Canon's head honcho, refused to move forward with a proposed sequel to Lone Wolf McQuade that would have starred Van Damme alongside Chuck Norris. Golan wanted Michael Dudikoff instead. Van Damme, meanwhile, went back to his old job driving a limousine around Los Angeles, probably wondering if his Hollywood dream was dead. But here's where the accident happened.
You Jackson? You look like a Jackson.
Number 3. This is the part where Van Damme becomes the hero of his own story. Somehow through sheer determination, begging, or maybe just wearing Cannon down, Van Damme convinced the studio to let him take a crack at re-editing Bloodsport. They agreed, probably because they had nothing to lose. The film was already considered worthless. Van Damme teamed up with editor Carl Press, who had worked on The Towering Inferno, and they went to work. Together, they reworked the fight scenes, trimmed down the melodrama, and created a faster-paced, leaner cut. Less talking, more kicking. The result? Cannon finally greenlit the film for theatrical release. Without Van Damme's re-edit, Bloodsport would have gone straight to video and disappeared. Instead, it became Cannon's most profitable film of 1988, making $50 million worldwide on a budget between $1.5 and $2.3 million. That's a creative win born from disaster. Van Damme didn't just star in Bloodsport, he saved it. Drop a comment if it got you hyped about underground fighting tournaments before UFC even existed. That's the kind of impact this movie had. Number 4. By 1988, Cannon Films was circling the drain financially. 3 massive box office bombs in 1987. Over the Top, Masters of the Universe, and Superman 4. The quest for peace had nearly bankrupted the studio. They barely had money left to promote Bloodsport. So what did they do? They released it backwards. Bloodsport premiered in Asia and Europe first, where martial arts films had built-in audiences. By the time it arrived in North America, the movie had already turned a profit internationally, making over $50 million overseas. The US got it last, opening on just a few screens in Los Angeles, where it grossed $9,000 per screen, huge numbers that forced Cannon to expand the release. This accidental release strategy worked perfectly. The international buzz created momentum, and American audiences showed up ready to see what the hype was about. If Cannon had been flush with cash and done a traditional US first release, Bloodsport might have flopped domestically and been forgotten. Budget constraint? Yes. Happy accident? Absolutely.
It says he represents the Tanaka clan.
Shidoshi Tanaka trained me.
Number 5. Bloodsport's gritty underground tournament aesthetic wasn't just good set design, it was the real deal. The production filmed inside Kowloon Walled City, one of the most notorious locations in Hong Kong history. Originally a military fort dating back 800 years, Kowloon had become a lawless, densely packed enclave ruled by Chinese triads. No police, no building codes, just narrow corridors, makeshift structures, and a population living outside government control. Bloodsport is one of only a handful of films ever shot inside Kowloon Walled City before it was demolished in 1993-1994. The Kumite tournament scenes, those dark, claustrophobic hallways leading to the fighting arena, were filmed in the actual maze-like alleys of this infamous place. No Hollywood studio set could have replicated that raw, authentic atmosphere. The location wasn't just a backdrop, it was a character. And Cannon got it for cheap because, well, they were broke and filming in Hong Kong was the budget-friendly option. Low-budget location scouting accidentally captured a piece of history that would vanish just a few years later. Bloodsport is now a time capsule of a place that no longer exists.
Yo, Frankie! Earth to Frankie, this is ground control. Do you copy?
Number 6. Casting Bolo Yeung as the villain Chong Li wasn't just a smart choice, it was a lightning strike. Yeung was 42 years old when Bloodsport was filmed, but the man looked like he was carved from granite. Born in China in 1946, he'd been Mr. Hong Kong bodybuilding champion for 10 years straight and had already appeared in over 60 films, including Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee in 1973. But what most people don't realize is that Bolo wasn't just a bodybuilder playing a fighter. He'd been training in martial arts since age 10, starting with Kung Fu in Canton under multiple masters. When he met Bruce Lee on the set of Enter the Dragon, the two became close friends and worked extensively together on technique training. So when Bolo showed up on the Bloodsport set in 1988, he was channeling over 3 decades of legitimate martial arts experience, not just playing dress-up. Bloodsport wasn't looking for a seasoned actor with range. They needed someone who could look terrifying without saying much. And because Yeung was a real martial artist, not just a bodybuilder pretending, the fights looked authentic. You believe it. The way he moves through the tournament scenes, methodical, calculated, toying with opponents, that's all rooted in real technique. When he breaks fighters' legs at the shin during matches, creating some of the film's most visceral moments, it feels devastating because Bolo actually knew how to make it look that way. That's not special effects. That's Bolo Yeung being Bolo Yeung. Yeung became such a fan favorite that he and Van Damme reunited for Double Impact in 1991. Sometimes you don't need a great actor, you need a great physical presence. Sometimes you need someone whose real-world credentials do the acting for them. Bolo Yeung genuinely terrified people. Kids who watched this in the 80s and 90s remember actually being afraid of him. That dead stare, the way he moved, the casual brutality. It all felt real because Bolo was real. More intimidating than most action movie villains of that era. And decades later, people still remember that fear. Number 7. Let's be honest, Bloodsport's soundtrack is gloriously over-the-top 1980s cheese. And that's exactly why it's perfect. Composer Paul Herzog wrote the score, but the songs everyone remembers, Fight to Survive and On My Own Alone, were performed by Stan Bush, the same guy who gave us The Touch from Transformers. The music is pure synthesizer-driven, fist-pumping, montage-ready 80s energy. It screams neon headbands, leg warmers, and doing karate in abandoned warehouses. Some critics at the time thought it was too much. But for audiences, especially on VHS in the late 80s and early 90s, that soundtrack was the secret ingredient that made Bloodsport rewatchable. The cheesiness wasn't a bug, it was a feature. Herzog and Bush weren't trying to win Oscars. They were creating the perfect backdrop for a movie about underground fighting tournaments. And it worked so well that Stan Bush's Fight to Survive still gets played at martial arts gyms and action movie marathons today. If this hits different for you, it's probably because you discovered it at exactly the right moment in your life. Maybe you were a kid flipping through channels on a weekend afternoon. Maybe you rented it on VHS in the 90s. Maybe it was on in the background at a friend's house and you couldn't look away. Whatever the moment was, that's when Bloodsport became yours, and it never left.
Son of a bitch! Is that good enough, guys?
Number 8. One of Bloodsport's smartest decisions, accidental or not, was casting actual martial artists instead of just actors who could fake it. Jean-Claude Van Damme was a legitimate kickboxer with real competition experience. Bolo Yeung was a kung fu master and bodybuilder. Frank Dux himself, whatever you believe about his true story, served as the film's fight choreographer and knew martial arts inside and out. Many of the tournament fighters were real practitioners of Muay Thai, sumo, karate, and other styles. This wasn't a movie where stunt coordinators taught actors to throw fake punches. These were real fighters who knew how to move. And it showed on screen. The speed, the technique, the way bodies react to strikes. Bloodsport has a rawness that CGI-heavy modern action films struggle to replicate. And here's the kicker. Van Damme actually knocked out actor Bernard Mariano during filming. The scene where Dux lands a reverse elbow on Hossein? That elbow connected for real, and Mariano went down. They kept the take in the movie. Casting real fighters wasn't just about saving money on stunt doubles, it created authenticity that audiences could feel. You know the line, but brick don't hit back.
Very good. But brick not hit back.
Van Damme shattering that bottom brick with a single overhead strike to prove Tanaka trained him. That move stuck with everyone who watched it. You don't watch Bloodsport thinking, oh, that's movie fighting. You watch it thinking, holy crap, these guys can actually do this.
Now I'll show you some trick or two.
Number 9. Okay, here's the elephant in the room. Bloodsport was marketed as based on true events in the life of Frank Dux, and pretty much all of it was nonsense. Frank Dux claimed he won a secret underground tournament called the Kumite in the Bahamas in 1975. He said he set world records for fastest knockout, fastest punch, and most consecutive knockouts. He said he trained under a Japanese ninja master named Senzo Tanaka. He said he went on covert CIA missions in Southeast Asia. The problem? None of it checks out. In May 1988, just months after Bloodsport premiered, the Los Angeles Times published an investigation written by reporter John Johnson that tore Dux's claims apart. Johnson found that Dux's military records showed he never left the United States. The trophy Dux claimed to have won from a 1975 tournament? Johnson tracked down a trophy shop owner in Southern California who confirmed Dux ordered and picked it up locally. As for Senzo Tanaka, the LA Times couldn't find any evidence he ever existed. Johnson even pointed out that a character named Tiger Tanaka appeared in Ian Fleming's James Bond novel You Only Live Twice, raising questions about where Dux really got the name. The smoking gun came when Johnson met with Richard Robinson, a witness Dux had brought forward to corroborate his story. Robinson initially claimed he attended the Kumite with Dux as an undefeated wrestler, but when Johnson investigated, he discovered Robinson hadn't even gone to the school he claimed. When confronted, Robinson admitted the truth. He'd gone to school with Dux, and Frank had coached him on what to say. Even Sheldon Leddick, who co-wrote the Bloodsport screenplay, said, "Frank told me a lot of tall tales, most of which turned out to be made up." But here's the crazy accident. The lies made Bloodsport more famous. Audiences ate up the controversy. Was Frank Dux a fraud? A legend? Both? The mystery added layers to the movie. Fans debated it in martial arts magazines, online forums, and at video stores. The true story claim became part of Bloodsport's mythology, and the movie benefited from every article, every argument, every conspiracy theory. Bloodsport wasn't just a martial arts film. It was a cultural phenomenon fueled by the question, wait, did this actually happen? The answer is no. But the myth? That became cinema history. Let's zoom out for a second and talk about what Bloodsport actually accomplished. It made $50 million worldwide on a budget of less than $2.5 million. It sold 150,000 VHS copies within months and became one of Warner's biggest-selling home video titles. It launched Jean-Claude Van Damme into superstardom, leading directly to Kickboxer, Universal Soldier, Hard Target, and Time Cop. But more than that, Bloodsport inspired an entire generation. Johnny Cage, the cocky martial artist character, was literally modeled after Van Damme's performance in this film. The Kumite concept fighters from around the world competing in brutal, anything goes, matches foreshadowed the rise of mixed martial arts and the UFC. According to the American Film Institute, the success of Bloodsport helped spark the resurgence of the martial arts film genre in America. It proved that audiences still craved what Bruce Lee had given them in the 1970s. Real skill, real physicality, and real stakes. Every disaster became an opportunity. Bloodsport isn't a perfect movie. The acting is wooden in parts. The love story is forgettable. The plot is predictable, but none of that matters because Bloodsport delivers exactly what it promises. Spectacular martial arts, an unforgettable villain, a charismatic hero, and the pure adrenaline rush of watching fighters push themselves to the limit. It's raw, it's authentic, it's fun, and that's why this movie became that comfort watch, the one you'd throw on whenever it came on cable. Almost 40 years later, people still quote it, still watch it, still put it on when they need to feel like they can kick through a brick wall. Bloodsport didn't just survive its production disasters, it thrived because of them. Which surprise fact blew your mind the most? Did you know Van Damme re-edited the movie himself? Drop your thoughts below.